My name's Tim Ryan. This is my barbecue joint that I opened when we moved up here from Oklahoma. It was in 2006, and Sonna, my wife, and I had retired in 2000 from the phone company. Both of us did. And we were retired for 5 years. My job was to go play golf every morning until it got to be like a job. And during that period of time, I decided that I really needed to do something more productive with my time.
I'm Sonna Ryan. I am the co-owner of the barbecue joint since July of 2006. Tim and I had worked for AT&T both for 28 years. We retired for about 5 years in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then we moved up here and opened the barbecue joint. So it's kind of turned into a whole new second career.
I thought, well, if I'm going to work, I want to do it for myself. It was just something that I thought would be a good business to get into. I used to do it at home with an offset wood box barbecue barrel, and those things are big, and you had to cook an abundance of food in it in order to really, fill it up. And so I'd drive the neighbors crazy by cooking overnight, and they'd be smelling barbecue when they got up, and so we'd share it with all the neighbors. And it just seemed like a business that I could learn to do. So all of what we do here is self-taught through trial and error. And I knew we wanted to serve the basic meats of barbecue: brisket and ribs and sausage and chicken and pulled pork.
I think the hardest part is you just wear so many hats and there's so many things going on. It's a lot to keep up with, just one small business. And things happen, something breaks, somebody can't come in, something doesn't come in. I mean, there's just always things to deal with, and that's just how it is all the time. So that's probably the hardest part, is not being able to get away really from it. I've said it's like the child that Tim and I had together, and it's a very demanding child.
The decisions are mine, made in coordination with my wife and with Courtney, my daughter, who works for us, and my grandkids. They'll tell me if I'm off the rails or, going down the wrong road. But that, I think, is my favorite part of it. That it's me. And it's up to me to be here every morning and to make sure that it's running well and doing what I want it to do, and so far it is. And we don't change the formula for things often. The concept is simple, and we've stuck to it.
My name is Courtney, and I am a co-manager at the barbecue joint. So about 10.5 years ago, I moved up with my two beautiful twins. We moved from Oklahoma. They needed some help with the business, but I needed even more help. Kind of life crisis, needed a new restart. It was a good place. Had been a nice place for the kids to come. For the summers, they'd stay for about a month, and my marriage and family were in desperate need of a break and a change, and they graciously took me in and saved me and my kids. And it absolutely was the best thing that ever happened to my life.
My name is Hudson Harper. My grandparents, Tim and Sonna, are the owners, and then my mother, Courtney, is the manager. So I started working at Barbecue Joint when I was 14. I mostly wanted to work here because I wanted to make some money. I started off as the dish boy, working just like every weekend. I've continued working here because I just slowly worked my way up to the line, and I just basically stayed because of the customers.
Giving back to my family and working with my beautiful kids and getting 9 years of time to work with them has been such a gift. It got a lot of extra time that parents don't get lucky enough to have. Seen them grow up and become wonderful, amazing adults. My favorite part is the employees, yeah. They've become my family and my safe place. They've become my kids' family. They've healed my heart and soul. They're the best humans that I know.
My best friend, Kyla, is one of the wisest people I know. And if I was a very young teenage mom, she's young enough to be my child. And watching her parent her children and getting to be a part of their lives has been such a huge gift. Such a huge gift to me. She teaches me things every day. And she was my favorite customer, and then luckily she wanted to work with us and get to be my co-manager, and has stepped up for me more than any other friend I've ever had.
My name is Kyla Pearce, and I am the other co-manager of Barbecue Joints. I started working at the Barbecue Joint when we moved back to the States in August of 2015 on my last visit back to the States, because I was living in England for a few years. We came back to the States, and I came in here to see my people who I had loved so dearly, and I was like, guys, when I come back, I have missed barbecue. There's no good barbecue in England anywhere, and I missed it so much, and I missed you guys, and please just hire me when I come back. And Courtney was like, absolutely, we'll take you. And then when I actually moved back, I came back and I was like, hey, how serious were you? And Courtney was like, I really want you. I just didn't know how serious you were, if you really wanted to. And I was like, yes, I do. I want to be here. So, which worked out really well. At the time I got to come back just kind of part-time-ish, because my then husband had gotten out of the Navy, and so we kind of came back here to figure out what we were doing with our lives. So I got to start off working here while he was figuring out his stuff, and he was watching our boys while I was doing that, and I got to eat all the good food and be with people that I had already developed relationships with from the customer side and become friends with, and then got to just really build on that. So shifting from being a regular, from being a customer, and then becoming a staff member, it was a lot of fun. So the shift was, I'd say it's a really easy transition where I really just enjoyed coming to work, partly because the stay-at-home mom side of it that I'd been doing for 3 years at that point, it was hard to go from working all the time to just being home with kids and having these small humans need me for everything and not having adult conversations and my own thing, my own purpose outside of kids. And so there was such joy in having that, and then with the people that I got to work with.
So I've had a pretty complicated relationship with my coworkers. A lot of them, I do love all of them. They're great. Kyla particularly is probably the one I'm closest to. I call her my work stepmom. It's weird, but it's fine. I love her.
Having the family dynamic here can obviously be a little bit challenging at times, because it is a family, which means that there's times where you love each other, but you might not like each other, or you might not play as nicely together. But in the end, it all comes back to, like, we know that we love each other, and we can have our little, you're just annoying me right now, or I'm not in a great place, so I'm gonna be snappy, or whatever. Like, we can do that and still know that when it comes down to it, we love each other and we have each other's backs, which is so huge. That connection just that connection is everything.
So my general experience working with my family is fine. We usually get along quite well. We will sometimes bicker, usually if I'm a bit hangry or if they're not having a great day, but usually we're all okay.
That's gotten me through so much in the last few years. It's gotten me through this entire pandemic. It's the people and the family. This has become a second family for me, for my kids. And at this point, they call Sonna is Nana, and it's just, this is my other family. And I have family here. My family's amazing. I have a great family here, and I am so blessed with that. But I'm even more blessed because I've got to have this whole extended family too. That's just enriched my life in so many ways and been so involved for me and my kids. I knew that I would enjoy, I knew that I loved the food and that I was going to enjoy eating that. And I knew that I was already bonded with Courtney and Tim and Sonna, but I did not know how deep it would go. I did not expect that when my world was crashing, when my husband decided to leave, that I would have a place where I could safely be like, hey, today's rough. Like, I don't like life right now, and I'm raw. Like, my skin is peeled off and I'm breaking, and that this would get to be the place where I got to have that, where I could just be broken and cry and be told that I am loved and I am worthy, and that no matter what, my people here had me, that they had my back, that they were there, that they loved me. I didn't expect it to last 6 years and on, but I didn't expect to have mornings in the kitchen opening with Darren and him just being like, hey, you are amazing. I love you. Like, you will be fine. This hurts and this gets to hurt, and I'm sorry that this hurts. I would change it if I could. But I love you. And even if you don't love yourself right now, I love you. Having that from Darren, having that from Courtney made all the difference. That no matter what, they would help make sure that I was good. They would have my back. They would do whatever it took. They would love my kids. They would show up for plays or whatever. That they had us. That we were held and loved, and that I never would have seen that coming when I started working here. I knew that, there would be friendships and bonds, and it'd be a fun time, and it would be barbecue, but I didn't know that I would have customers like Bon who will fight a bear for me if it comes down to it. Like, she will make sure that I am taken care of. I have no doubt if anything goes wrong, I know who to call. And I didn't know that I would have a Hallie who just loves my kids and will step up and be around them and babysit for me and come hang out and have movie nights when we're all having like an emotional day.
She's videoing me. Make her stop it.
All right. Do I see it? I can see it in both sides. My interview, part 1. Yay. My name is Hallie Harper. I am also the director of this film that you're watching right now, so a bit of a fourth wall break here. I am also the granddaughter of the owners of the barbecue joint, Tim and Sonna, and my mom is Courtney, and Hudson is my twin brother. So this project is a little bit close to home. So I decided that since I was going to subject all of my nearest and dearest people to being on camera, that it was only fair to subject myself as well. So I started working at the barbecue joint when I was 14. I'd always kind of been around, so I kind of grew up here, but as soon as I was allowed to legally be on the payroll at 14, I was like, put me on the payroll, I wanna work. Like, I'm already there all the time, I wanna work with you guys, I wanna be a part of it. So I started baking every Sunday morning. So there would be some desserts out and to kind of alleviate some of that work from my grandma. And then over the years, I slowly worked my way up to the line.
I love our regulars. There's so many of them that would do anything for us. That during the pandemic, getting supplies, or if something breaks, they just come in and help us fix it. They become family. Our regulars become family.
My name is Bonnie Flynn, and my connection to the barbecue joint is I'm a frequent flyer. You know, I'm here a lot. And they're family, quite frankly. I started coming in here initially when they opened. I was excited that we had great barbecue in the community. My relationship began with, you know, coming in here and conversing with the employees and the ownership and joking around, you know, and conveying to them how good the barbecue was and how extremely good the Texas sheet cake was.
So my relationship with most of the customers is really good. I love our customers a lot. I'm assuming they like me too, hopefully. But yeah, we have really good customers here. It's great that we're in like a small Navy community because I love talking to them. Their stories are great. They're always super nice and smiling, and it just makes my day.
What about Dawn?
I don't even consider her a customer. She's just family.
We're a unique area because we're an island, number one, and number two, it's a tourist destination for better or worse, but we're a tight-knit community. You know, we help each other out. The barbecue joint gets tagged, I'm here as soon as I can get here to make sure that's painted over so there's no negative connotations associated with what's been placed on their building. I mean, that's just what we do, you know? I could come in dead tired and be starving, and if I didn't have a dime in my pocket, I would leave here full. That's just our community.
Our customers are so great, and our regular loyal customers, especially like when we went to all takeout and, you know, everybody was so uncertain of what was going to happen, and some of our dear friends came forward and they bought gift certificates, and one couple bought gift certificates for the fire department and then another for the police department. And our friends that when we've had shortages, getting things, they'll go, which has been, you know, a continuing problem since COVID started, and they'll go scout us up things and bring them to us. And we've just had so much support that we wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for our wonderful customers.
So on March 13th of 2020, the governor of Washington State announced that K through 12 is going to be shutting down, and that kind of created the precedent that, like, we all knew it was coming, we all knew a shutdown was coming, and things were getting serious. So everything started to shut down on March 13th. And then as soon as it was announced that K through 12 was closing, my mom called and was like, hey, you have to come home because everything's gonna shut down. And, you know, she didn't want me to be stuck on campus by myself in the middle of a pandemic when we didn't know what was going on. So Darren literally dropped everything and drove to come and get me last minute. Like, as soon as he found out, he and my mom were like, oh, Hallie has to come home. And he like left work as soon as he got off and immediately drove out to come get me. Once everything like went remote learning, I stayed in Oak Harbor with my family and worked at the restaurant and tried to navigate all the changes as best I could, just like everybody else was trying to do.
Our community through the whole pandemic has been incredible. They've just really, especially in the beginning, because it was really scary. Everything was being shut down. We didn't know what was going on. We were having to change our whole family dynamic here because we were trying to make sure that we were falling in line with what we were being told and making sure that we were keeping each other safe. And so we stopped hugging each other and we were spacing and we were wearing our masks and we were just trying to be really cautious around each other because from everything we were hearing, it's not something that we wanted to have hit any of us.
Basically, when your grandparents are hiring everyone and you have your sweet grandma who's going, oh, can I get a hug? Can I get a hug? And then it's just, everyone starts giving hugs when they get here, when they're leaving, and it's just like, yeah, it just seems normal to just say bye, I love you to whoever's working, because we're all just a big happy family. Everyone was super lonely during the pandemic, especially during the whole social distancing phase. You weren't allowed to hug people, which is a huge deal when you're working in a family business with everyone that you love. And yeah, it's just rough.
None of us wanted to bring in something accidentally and share it with everybody here because we love each other. And so it just felt so disconnected and so desolate and so bleak. But our customers really stepped up and were just bright spots in it. We had people that would hear about the shortages, like Bon would go and Carrie would go and try and track down any Lysol wipes they could find because we couldn't find them anywhere at the time. We were having rib shortages, and so several times they would go to Costco for us and bring back ribs. My mom went to Costco and brought ribs. Everything was so crazy.
It was important to me to support the barbecue joint because, number one, they provide great jobs for members of the community. Number two, they are just good people. And over the years, they've become my family. And, you know, they were struggling like everybody else. I didn't want to see the barbecue joint fail. When the pandemic first started and they started the restrictions and all of that, you know, Tim told me, he said, I just want to make sure my employees have work. That was his primary concern, was to make sure that you guys were taken care of, you know. So, just good people.
The hardest part about owning a small business that the last few years have been dealing with the COVID pandemic, having to close half the restaurant, having to just have takeout service, and being able to react to external forces, but still be able to stay in business. We've never had to close. We've kept everybody on the payroll. We've had more people come in and spend money, just like buy gift certificates, and being sure to come down here and get food for their family and carry it out. People that come in and say, we support you and we appreciate you being open.
It was scary. It was really scary. It was so desolate. We had to all stay 6 feet away from each other. We had to not hug each other. People being scared to love is really hard. And it got to a lot of people. We lost Darren. Darren took his own life. It was a lot. It was a lot for a lot of people.
April 19th, 2020, Darren committed suicide. He was supposed to come in for work, and he didn't. So it was a Sunday, so I was at home asleep. I didn't work that day. But I woke up to hearing my mom get home, and I knew something was wrong. And I knew that the only reason she would be like home at that time on a Sunday when she was supposed to be working, I was like, somebody has died. Like, I knew somebody had died.
When we lost Darren, that's paramount. That was extremely difficult. I'll never forget the call from Tim. Yeah, it was devastating, you know. I mean, for everyone. And it had to be even more so for you guys because you were with him daily. You know, that's the thing that's paramount in my mind.
Walking into Barbecue Joint and having to tell Courtney that Darren was dead will forever stand out as a really, really big memory, because that was like one of the most heartbreaking moments that I've had. And I knew it before I got here. I knew it was going to be hard, but I knew that I had to be the one to do it, and I had to be there. So I came in, and she knew when she saw me and started breaking down already, and that was hard. That was really hard. And then she went home, and I stayed and helped close the restaurant.
I met Darren when I was either 11 or 12, and he was just some nerd working here. And we started talking about RuneScape. And so we instantly started bonding over this nerdy video game. And then basically from there on out, he was just my uncle. He would give me books every Christmas. I would bring him books to read that I loved. He would never read them because he had like a pile, like 20 tall, every single time I would recommend something to him. Never got through it.
When I was 14 and I first started here, I would work Sunday mornings, and Hudson would also work Sunday mornings on Dish. So there'd be two of us, like 14, 15, bickering in the kitchen in the mornings. And so on those shifts was poor Darren, who had to like not only do his job, but basically babysit us and keep us on track doing our jobs so that we weren't fighting with each other the whole time.
He became super trusted by the time like me and Hallie were teenagers, so he would babysit us every once in a while.
Make sure we didn't kill each other.
Yeah, and so we would all just hang out there. We'd basically spend like every holiday or whatever together. He was always part of it. Yeah, he was just my uncle. That's how I see him.
Not only was Darren like, you know, an uncle to me and Hudson, but Hudson and I each bonded with Darren over our own like unique and specific interests. So Hudson had RuneScape and like things like that, and I had writing. So Darren was very much a writer and had been doing it, I think, most of his life, or at least it seemed that way. And I've always done writing and tried to do creative endeavors and tell stories, and so there was that bond of storytelling.
He'd always make sure I got my coffee. Miss Bond, you know. So, and he'd get so excited. He derived so much enjoyment out of telling me a joke. You know, he'd have a special joke, you know, quite often. I don't understand it, but, and we're all still dealing with it, and, but it was devastating, and I'll never forget that call. Honestly, there's still times when I walk back in the kitchen, I expect to see him, I mean, really. I mean, he was such an integral part of the crew.
My Darren, I've never had anybody step up for me as much as Darren has over the last decade. It was just special. It was so special. Super smart, remembered everything he ever read. Also the most hardworking person I've ever met in my life, and he had the biggest heart. He became family to my children. He was just good. He was good. He was really good. He was good for all of us. He loved us. I've never had anybody love us like Darren did.
In July of 2012, my grandfather had a stroke. I was in Texas visiting family when this happened, but prior to that, he had been here all the time, at the restaurant, all the time, not just for a few hours a day, but it was what he did, and he didn't really do much else. So when he had the stroke, he couldn't come into work for a while, and there was a lot of figuring that out. So my mom and Darren had to step up and take over and cover everything, because my grandma had to take care of him, and so somebody had to take care of the restaurant so we didn't crash and burn.
Darren and I both didn't have much experience with our jobs at the current. Darren was not a kitchen manager at the time, and I was kind of a manager, but I didn't really do what I do now. This was a temporary job for me until I figured out what I wanted, to go back to school and get my master's, or it was a temporary job. And then Tim had a stroke. The same month my dad got diagnosed with dementia. It was bad. It was a bad month. And I didn't know how to do. I didn't know how to do all this. So my mom was taking care of Tim, and I just was here. I was here open to close, and Darren was here open to close with me every single day, and we figured it out. It was the busiest catering month, but we lived here for about a month, open to close every single day, and the employees stepped up in a very real way. All of them stepped up. But Darren really, that was, when we formed, I have never had anybody step up like that for me. For a job. It's a job. It's not his life. He didn't have to do that. He gave up everything just to help me and to help Tim. He felt like Tim had saved him. He had applied every week for a year. And he, at the time, he was the kid walking around the street with a trench coat and a sequin hat and a boa. And so there was some hesitation about, hiring the guy that walked around with a boa and a sequin hat around Oak Harbor. He was pretty well known. He was an eccentric guy, and he also was very honest that he struggled with schizophrenia. But he kept coming. He applied every week for a year, and they needed a dishwasher. And so Tim wanted to give him a chance, because I was like, that's some dedication. And it was the best decision he ever made. Because he was the best worker. Nobody cared as much as Darren. Nobody cared as much as Darren. And so when Tim had this stroke, he felt like he owed Tim that, because he said Tim saved him.
We didn't know if we could keep doing the business without Darren, because Darren took care of us. And he took care of us so much that, like, we didn't even know all the things that he was doing. Because, like, he just took care of shit. Like, he didn't complain about it. He didn't draw attention to it even, like, a lot of the time. He just did stuff. So, like, we thought we were gonna sink for sure. Like, and not even to mention, like, he was our family. Like, it's not only, that's part of what gets so tricky about a family business is, like, when stuff happens to your family, you're not just dealing with the grief of, oh, my grandpa had a stroke, and that's really scary. Or, oh, Darren committed suicide, and that's crushing. You have to make sure everything else doesn't fall apart. Because all of your people who you love depend on this business to stay afloat in life.
We had people checking in. We had people coming in crying with us. We had people stepping up to see where they could help fill in the gaps because Darren left an immense hole. In so many lives, he left an immense hole in the business. We didn't know how we could or how we would do things without him. And so to think of having to continue the restaurant without him felt impossibly big. But all of our people really stepped up here, and the people that he developed relationships with here stepped up, and somehow we survived. I still don't know how, but it only because of the community and the family. Because these two years have been really hard. But in that, yeah, it's our people. Our community is amazing. Our community is amazing. There is not, I can't imagine having to do this anywhere else. There just was such a push to really be connected to each other, even while we felt so disconnected, because we had to make more of a point of it at the time. And then we all had to deal with our own mental health of feeling that disconnection, that hopelessness, that despair. And it was really hard. It was really hard, and we were trying to be cautious. We were trying to do our best, and in that, we saw the toll that it took on mental health. And in the end, that's what got Darren. Because he loved more than anybody that I've known ever. He connected deeply to people. He wanted to connect to people so deeply. That was where his passion, his heart really was. And so to have that taken away quite literally killed him.
He would do anything for the people he loved. He would have done anything for me, and I would have done anything for him. It's been a blessing, and it's been healing to see people care, because that's the most important part. Caring about people is the most important part. And kindness matters. Kindness matters. Because it was very dark. Darren was our heart. So all the kindness from the community mattered. All the kindness with the staff and us loving each other mattered.
My life has been so wrapped up in this place since its inception, really, on both sides, as a customer and as somebody working here, that it's hard to just pick one memory. Hallie has become like my only babysitter. And she's one of my daughter's best friends, even though there's, what, an 18-year age gap between the two. I mean, my daughter adores her and talks about her, and yeah, my oldest went and spent the night at Courtney's house, which usually we don't do sleepovers, so that's kind of a big deal. My kids getting to have this has been amazing. They have a lot of time that they spend with my parents, and they have a lot of time that they spend with their barbecue joint family, and my kids end up so surrounded with love all the time in so many different places with people that truly care about them, that want to be there for them, that want to have those conversations with them that they consider safe places. When my oldest has talked to me about emotions and things that he's feeling, and we've talked about safe people to go to with that if he doesn't want to talk to me. When we talk about the safe people that he has, some of the people that he named are people from barbecue joint that I've gained from being here. And it's amazing, the dynamic that we've been able to have through that. And my kids end up being so loved here.
We love our kids so much.
I know. I'm like, trying to be quiet.
My name is Jack Pearce. I know people at the barbecue joint through my mom. My favorite things to do are I like to eat their brisket. They're sliced and chopped. And I also like to have beans and pulled pork and cornbread. I love their cornbread with honey. And my other thing is to see my mom and Hallie and Hudson and Miss Courtney and Nana and everybody else that works here. Mr. Tim. Yeah, those are my favorite things to do here.
I love talking to the little kids here and getting to know them, and I've had so many just kids that I kind of become a second grandma to. All those just mean a lot to me. And my sailors, before COVID, I would say my hobbies were hugging sailors and holding babies, but I love the sailors, the ones that they're brand new and this is their first assignment and they miss home. And when we first opened, Tim reminded me, said they miss their mamas. It just means a lot to me to be able to make them feel like they've got a home here. One of the most wonderful things is the giving part of this community. For about 10 years now, well, we had one lady that started what we call our Mystery Lady Fund, that she just wanted to anonymously buy meals for sailors. And then as that went on, other people started contributing. So we've been able to tell sailors for over 10 years, we have friends and customers that have asked us to buy your meal, and we just want you to know how much your service is appreciated. And it's such a thrill to be able to make somebody's day and to let them know they are appreciated, because we're so sincerely grateful to them. And so that's been something the community has just kept going. And even outside the community, we have, you know, friends that have sent in regularly contributions to buy meals for sailors. And then our local Brother in Arms Motorcycle Club also partners with us, and they buy meals for sailors. So we're so glad to be able to offer that and let our people here know how much we do appreciate them.
The thing for me, what sets the barbecue joint apart from any of the other restaurants or establishments in Oak Harbor is what they do for especially the military community. They are such great supporters, true patriots, you know, in the community. It's a cornerstone of our community, and they're always, you know, looking out for somebody. So, you know, I just can't sing their praises enough about how they're there to help in the community.
Being able to work with my family, that is just the highlight to me. And it's why we stay open. I'm 76 years old. I could retire tomorrow and be happy, but I get up early anyway, so I may as well come in and do something. But I get to see my daughter and my grandkids, and you know, it's a treat. I'm thrilled with the work ethic that all of them have grown up with. That I trust them. I can leave, and I know that they're taking care of the business, and that they all take it very seriously. And especially Courtney, she has just relieved so much of what we would have to do if it were just Sonna and myself.
Working with my family has just been a huge blessing. Getting to work with my daughter Courtney, who I depend on so greatly, and my grandkids, Hallie and Hudson, I just got so much extra time with them, and it's just been a huge blessing to have that. I never expected, I just didn't realize I would end up with this giant barbecue joint family, but it's wonderful. The first people that work for us we're still in touch with. I've watched them grow up. I've gotten bonus kids and grandkids, and so many of them come back and see us or stay in touch through Facebook, and it's just a huge additional family.
So working with my family has been, oh my cry. Working with my family has been the biggest gift of my life. I've gotten so much extra time with my kids, and I've gotten to work with my closest friends, and I feel like the time with people that you love is the most important thing. And I've really gotten to have that. I didn't know that's what I wanted, but it is what I wanted. And so it's been everything to me. It's been everything to me.
I better say, I owe it all to my wife for putting up with me wanting to do this grand experiment. It was not her idea of the ideal retirement, because she's worked side by side with me for every year that we've been open. And without her, I couldn't have done it.
The 15-year mark just really made me stop and realize how much effect the restaurants had on me, and all the wonderful blessings and the good things it's brought. And I just feel we're lucky that we're still here, and that our customers still support us, and we've got the best team and staff. We're lucky to have blood family and adopted family helping us keep it going.
My coworkers are just the best people I know. I've developed the deepest friendships I've ever had in my life. They have loved me. They have loved my kids, which, if you love my kids, you've got my heart when you love my kids. They're just beautiful humans. They've changed me. They've changed me.
How have I grown or changed? I mean, I'm not as much as an asshole, if I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, because I have an issue watching my tone a lot, and so that caused many issues with coworkers. I haven't ever had it cause an issue with customers, but yeah, there's been a few incidents with just not being able to watch my tone properly. And then with customers, it just basically helped me just get over my social anxiety for the most part. I still hate public speaking, it's awful. But if I'm just up on the line talking to customers, it just feels normal now. I think that working here through teenage years just helped me learn from other people's experiences to I just was able to learn life lessons that I wouldn't have otherwise, honestly.
The restaurant has definitely, and working here and growing up here, has given me a really strong sense of family because it's allowed me to spend so much time with my immediate family, for one thing, and has been able to strengthen those bonds. It's also expanded my sense of family, and that, like, family's more than just blood. It's all of the people who are there to support you. It's like, without this restaurant, I don't know where I would be, because I would not have my people. Yeah, or who I would be, because I wouldn't have my people. These people helped, raise me from a, sassy little teenager to a sassy, also kind of small adult. They turned me into who I am and helped shape me as a person and better me as a person.
This is a restaurant. We're supposed to have all sorts of horror stories. And I can maybe count on one hand how many times I've had any kind of bad experience with anyone. And even then, anyone that kind of started off negative, there's always been some kind of reason that I've been able to talk about where it's been people are hurting or they're scared or something. And so it ends up being so positive in the end that I'm just really blessed to be here. Really blessed to be here.
I have been honored to help out the people with the barbecue joint, and they've really helped me out too. It's a give situation. I don't know, some days I've come in here and I'm just so disgusted with everything that's going on, and so disgusted with people's reactions to what's transpiring. And I get in here and I'm like, oh my God, hi family, So yeah, it's a give situation. I know that if I needed anything, I could come to any one of the employees. They're my family, So, yeah.
Community is everything. It's like all the ugly you see on social media and in mainstream media and everything. I'm like, this is not who people are. That is not who people are. Who people are, I get to see every day. I get to see their struggles. There are customers coming in that are battling cancer or just lost a family member or going through losing their jobs, and everybody is humanized. Everybody's a person. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story, and they're all good people. And you get to see that being in a small business. You get to see the beauty in everybody, and that everybody has a story. And every story matters. And you care deeply, and you don't care what their political affiliation is. You don't care about that. You don't care what their religious beliefs. You just care about the person because they step up for you, and you get to see that in a small community. It's just you care genuinely. You want your neighbors to be happy. You want good things for them. It's not about the boxes of labels. It's just not. It's about people just wanting to live their lives and be happy and love their people. That's all it's about.
Do you know that you were loved at Barbecue Joint?
Yes.
Do you like that about Barbecue Joint?
Yes.
Can you say that in not a yes or no way?
No. One of the things I like here is that I like to see my friends, my adult friends. That was loud. I know Miss Courtney loves me, and Nonna loves me, and Hallie and Hudson loves me, and my mom loves me. That's all the people I can, that's all the people I know for sure that love me.
They taught me a lot about love, too, though. You know, I learned how important it is to tell people how much you care and how much you love them, because you won't always have that. You won't always be able to tell people that you love them. And that's at least one thing I know in my life that I won't regret, is that I know when I leave a situation with people I care about, that no matter what's happening, I always say goodbye, I love you. So that's something that being here with these people and having them be my family has at least provided comfort with, is that I know no matter what happens, you know, the last thing I said to anybody is goodbye, I love you. And that's, I think, how we should approach life, is making sure that you always express that. Because you never know what's gonna happen, clearly. I mean, we've gone through a whole pandemic, the whole world has changed. You know, everybody's different people than they were, you know, 2-3 years ago. But if we make an effort to act with love and do that, I think that makes all the difference.
I was 60 years old when we opened. You know, I've grown older with it, and I've lost certain capabilities, and I've had a stroke. I lived through it. I came back to work, and you know, I just feel like I've grown up with the business. I get very emotional talking about it, as you've seen, but that's a function of being older and of a stroke. My emotions are that close to the surface, and they will be, and I accept that, and that's fine. But no, it's been quite a ride. You've got to promise to edit the hell out of this.
reminded me who I wanted to be. Not what I wanted to be, because I'm still not sure of that. I don't think any of us are sure about that, and I don't think that needs an answer. What really it taught me was who I wanted to be and the means in which you can do that. It's more of a state of being as opposed to what you do in life, because it doesn't matter what you do in life. You can do some of the best things in life and be a completely horrible person in the way that you do it. You could help people, but go by it with nefarious means. You can hurt people while trying to be the best that you can be. And that really is what matters, is how are you doing it? Where's your mind at? What do you want to translate the inner you and try to change the world that way? Because everybody does. Some bigger, some smaller, but everybody changes it, sometimes just in the person sitting next to you.